Okay, so there it goes. And so anyway, so my name is Jim Upton. I am one of the three hosts of this group. I started blogging. It's been about 9 years now, I guess, that I first started. I didn't know anything about blogging. I had started my local business site. I had kind of taken that over, so I knew how to do photos, and I knew how to click the new post button, and and I knew how to do a link from like, my first posts were like this 5-part series of posts, and I've since redone them. They were horrible, but anyway, and then so I would link to the different posts. So anyway, that's what I knew about, blogging and that sort of thing when I first started. And I got a noisy cat here. But anyway, I'm a big fan of like just getting started with blogging, and to just and or with anything, just kind of get started. I'm a planner by nature, and my nature is to plan everything and then not do it. And so anyway, with blogging, it's an exception that I have, is that it's something that I jumped into. I've done it imperfectly, but I'm glad I got into it when I got into it. That being said, I do wish that I would have learned what we're going to talk about here sooner than I have learned it. Because right now, my blog is a big mess. I would just think of a post and post about it, and then I'd think of another one and post about it, think of another one. And I didn't know how to do categories and tags and all that stuff. So I'm going to share in the screen here. Let's see. If I go to, how does this work? Okay, can you guys see the slide?
Not yet.
No. Okay, hold on. So you got to forgive me here because I don't know. One participant, let's see. Okay, here we go.
Green, and then you have to choose what you want to share.
Here we go. Yeah, here we go. Okay, now we got it. Okay, so anyway, this is kind of what the topic. So I've taken, in the last 2 years, I've taken 2 blogging classes, 2 like online blogging courses, one last year and one this year. Both of them have brought up this exact topic: content hubs, Cornerstone content silos is another name for it. And it's just a way of organizing your content on your website. And so anyway, and then I've even studied it a little bit more, and it's something I've just kind of learned more recently. I wish I knew this before, because I'm now in the process of, trying to update my site and reorganize it a little bit into this like sort of hub structure that we're going to get into.
Jim, your slideshow hasn't started. We're seeing what you're seeing, unless you want us to see it that way.
So do you see? Okay, so if I put it up like this,
there you go.
That's a full screen.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. I mean, please speak up if you can't, if you can't see it or whatever. So, and also if you guys have, I'm going to have I think Tess is going to watch the questions and that sort of thing. If you guys have questions or anything like that, you can put them in the chat, or, there's the little raise your hand, or you can just interrupt or whatever you want to do. So thank you. Okay. So for starters, it starts with, what is a content hub? I mean, what are we even talking about here? So kind of like a little definition, a way of wording it is just, it's a cluster of content around a particular topic. I find it easier to show what it is right here. This is an easier way of describing it, in my opinion. So this is, I've heard this called a spoken wheel hub. They have different ways of doing it. We're going to get into some different ways of structuring it. This one is just very simple, though. Spoken wheel looks kind of like a little coronavirus to me. So maybe it's the coronavirus hub. But anyway, it starts with a central hub here. So you have, like a general topic. And then these are supporting content for that central topic. And they're, it's all connected around here. So, oh man, this cat. So let me, I'm going to let the cat out real quick. Hold on. Just give me 1 second here.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. In about 30 seconds, he's going to want back out. So anyway, it's just a way of clustering your content around, anyway, why do we even do this? Okay, why is this the best way of doing it? So there's several reasons. One is that Google can crawl your content easier. If your site is so Google sends out its little spiders to crawl the web. I think of the spiders as like FedEx delivery people or something. They don't have all day to spend on your site. They're there to spend a little bit of time and then get out and move on to the next one. So if you have a logical way for them to crawl your content and one that makes sense, it's easier for them to figure it out and get deeper into your content. If your site's a big mess, then it's going to take them longer to figure out what your site is about. So that's one reason. So another reason is that you can kind of rank higher with your content. So, if you have a new blog, you're going to have a harder time trying to rank around this main topic because that's usually a more general topic. However, these posts would be more around like what they call longer tail keywords. So if you are, let's say, you write about automobiles or something, this might be a post about Fords or Chevrolets, and then you have another one about Fords and another one about Hondas and whatever else. Okay. So this is the more general topic, but it's very competitive, this area. And so it's going to be harder to rank this right away. But these longer tail keywords, which would be things like, sedans for, best like 2022 Chevy sedans, 2022 Chevy coupes, maybe best Chevrolets for families, best Chevrolets for safety, those kind of things. Those are your topic clusters around here. So somebody that's looking for safety ratings on Chevrolets may find this post in the search and then find your hub and then so on and so forth. So it can actually help you rank higher, clustering your content around a central hub like that. So if your content is a better user, if your content is structured like this, it's also a better user experience. People know where your site is. They see that, like, here's this hub, here's this next one, here's this next one. They spend a little more time on your site. All that is good. And if people are spending time on your site, Google's going to notice that and push your stuff up higher too, more than likely. And then it shows more authority. So if we go back to our the hub here, the spoken wheel, if you write about like produce and you have a blog about apples and a blog about oranges and a blog about bananas, or a post, I should say, about those different things, and you've covered your topics, that's one way of doing it. But if your competitor has, instead of apples, they have the apples post, but they also have best red apples, best apples in Yakima, best maybe all about Macintosh apples, they're going to appear to be more of an authority. So like if you are somebody that's looking for information on, say, Macintosh apples, you're going to come up, if you go by content only, it would appear that your competitor is more of an authority because they have more content and more specific content on apples as opposed to your just one post. There's more factors than that, but that can help. It can help your authority to be able to you look more of an authority on that subject. And then you can get more post ideas by generating your topic, your information, your content around a hub. So just recently I had I'm trying to structure my content in here. And so I'm redoing a post, and it's one that I wanted to make into a hub. And I couldn't really think of a way. And I kind of checked to see what competitors were doing. All my competitors have kind of just one post on this subject. So what I ended up doing is I have a paid tool that I use for keyword research. and I just went through the web and took a whole bunch of keywords. I think I cut it off at 1,000. So I'm taking like from competitor sites, I'm taking 1,000 of their keywords, putting them on a spreadsheet. And then I go to the next site and put them on a spreadsheet. Anyway, I compiled this list of like thousands of keywords, took out the duplicates, sorted it on keyword volume, and went through it one by one. And so, whereas I had one post originally, and it's all I could think about, as I went through the keywords, some of them apply to the main post. Some of them like just don't work, at all for what I'm doing. But by doing that, I found several keywords in there that would make for their own post, And so I now have a hub, and I'm working on I think it's like 5 supporting posts around it, So that's 5 post ideas that I never had before. And so I'm going to kind of center it around the hub, and hopefully that will, make my site the go-to for this particular topic is what I'm hoping. So anyway, it was a good way for getting more post ideas out of the thing. So there's this guy, Bruce Clay, and he's kind of like the old, he's one of the first guys here that was talking about siloing, I guess, several years back. And so he has, I was looking at his site here. He's got this, like, for example, here, he's got this jar, and you say, what is that? Well, it's a jar of marbles. And so there's, different color marbles, but it's basically just a jar of marbles. And so we talk about sorting this stuff out. And so here we have, you can put it in 3 different jars. I don't know if the 3 jars are 3 different websites or 3 different posts maybe, or something like that, 3 categories. But anyway, it's a way of sorting it out. Okay. And then there's this one here. And so here it is. It's kind of that same thing. It's that same jar, but now you can see there's green marble content, red marble content, and yellow marble content. Okay. It's just a way of sorting it out so that it's more logical and more organized. So there's different ways of structuring this kind of stuff. And I just want to show you this one here. Do you want me to, I can put these links in if you guys are curious. Let's see here. Here's this one. He's got a lot of stuff on these silos. And let me put that one in. So, so for here, let me get rid of this. So here's what they would call, this is more like a silo, where the other one's more of a hub. So this power tools, I don't know if that's maybe the website or it could be a topic, but so you have power tools, and then you have these 3 different, columns of, each one is similar content. So these are kind of hubs right here: cordless power tools, electric power tools, gas powered power tools. Okay. And then down here, is specific posts to support the hub that's up top. And so anyway, this is kind of just a different way of structuring it. So if you're looking for cordless drills, you come in to this site, you see cordless power tools, you click on that one, and you come down here, and there's your cordless drill post, So anyway, this is kind of what we're talking about here as far as ways to do this. So any questions here so far, or anything like that? Any comments? So, okay, so we're doing good. Okay, let me put this back then. I'm going to do it like this one. Okay. So we get into links, right? So these things with, with the hub here, the links are, this is what the links are right here. Without the links, you don't have a hub. So where's my, let's see, internal links, external links. Okay. So there's 2 kinds of links. There's internal links and there's external links. And so external links take visitors from your site to another site. Okay. So Bruce Clay, let's see, actually, let's go to my own. This is my blog here. So I've got, right in, let's see here. right here. These, where that's highlighted, that's called anchor text right there. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But these take, from one site to another site. Okay. That's one of the vendors here. So that's an external link. Okay. Same thing here, external link. So with Bruce Clay here, if we use him as an example, he has these links down here that are called internal links. Okay. See our SEO training. Okay. That's the anchor text SEO training. And that'll take you to a different page on his site. And so that's considered an internal link. So I want to go on a quick little tangent here about external links. Okay. This isn't really so much about external links as it is internal links. But like I said, I took 2 blogging courses and they got an interesting way. Both of them did it the same way. They have an interesting way of doing their external links. So I thought that I would share this because I thought it was kind of interesting. So an external link, for one thing, as a blogger, if you're making a hub post or something like that, you have your hub, and it is perfectly normal to have external links. Okay, so anyway, somebody just came out. So it's perfectly normal to have external links from another website. I use the Yoast SEO plugin, and one of the SEO checks that it has is that it has a check for external links. And if I don't have any external links on my blog post, it'll say, hey, you don't have any external links, you should think about adding some. Okay. And it's a way of showing authority. Wikipedia is like the king of external links, and they make a statement and they back it up and they have a source, and you go to that, if you click on that source, it'll take you to an external website that backs up their statement. Okay. Google loves Wikipedia. So it's a good idea to have external links in your post. So here's a screenshot of one of my blog posts. Okay. And this is the way I'm doing it now. So this one, the one that I showed you here, I have not changed this over yet. Okay. So I still have it as like anchor text like this. But here's a screenshot of one of my other blog posts, and I'm starting to do it in this manner here, where I just have a little reference number at the bottom. I think Wikipedia does it like this too. And so you click, these would take you to the external site to back up this statement. Okay, you need to go. Okay. So these would take you to so that's how the external link. So these ones down here, like this ANSI 118, this is an internal link, and that takes you over to the hub page. Okay. So if you click on that, that's an internal link, and these are external. And then if you go to this, if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, these are the references. And I see somebody has raised their hand here. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask if you were using a plugin to implement that, or you're doing it all manually.
No, I was not. I have been just doing it myself. You mean to switch it over like that, or just period?
So that the footnote reference goes down there and then it goes off somewhere else.
No, I mean, there may be one. I'm, like most of the things I do it the hard way, I think,
Yeah.
So there very well may be one. I'm not aware of one. Maybe if somebody knows, speak up, but anyway, so that's how I was showed to do these. And I think it's kind of a good way of doing it. And so here's kind of the reason why. So for one thing, any of your external links that you're quoting for references, those should be do follow links. Okay. You don't want to turn those to no follow links. You want the crawlers to follow them. That's Google's guidelines. But another reason for doing it this way is that you can see here, these, as people get to use my site, they'll understand that these take them to external sites, and that this type of link here will take them to an internal link, and so they'll be able, it's a way of distinguishing between the internal and the external links. And finally, people, I think, are kind of less inclined to click on this type of link. And so the reason for that, so you have the reference in there, you're doing it the way you're supposed to, but really you want people to kind of stay on your site, you know? And so anyway, so that would be the other reason for doing it in that manner. So that's the little tangent I wanted to go on for external links. That's just how I'm doing them. I figured I would show that. I don't know if anybody, you know, is gonna, if that's helpful or not, but I thought it might be. So internal links, though, are what we're going to use for the hubs and the silos. And so internal links are important to your site structure. If you don't have internal links, you don't have a hub, and you don't have a silo, and you don't have a cornerstone content. So the internal links are what create the structure, and it shows Google and your visitors what the hub is. So I don't know why this page is so bold here, but so internal links, they show the relevance of the pages. So if we go back up to, let's just go back to here. And if we go to Bruce Clay's siloing thing, so the internal links, you know, these little lines here are the internal links, and they show that these three things are related to power tools, okay? And they show that these are related to the cordless power tools that are in that hub. So they show the relevance and the relationship between the pages. With the internal links, you know, you think of that, the spoken hub wheel, the hub has all those links coming in and out of it there, and it shows that the hub is the most important page there on that. And so anyway, so it shows the relevance of the page, the relationship between the page, and the value of those of the pages. You know, the one, your hub is going to have the most internal links coming into it. So here's something I want to do here. There's a quick video that I want to show you. I just want to show you a couple parts of it. And this is a guy named Matt Diggity, and not this guy. This is an ad. He's a big guy in the SEO circles and that sort of thing, but he has a good way of kind of explaining the site structure and that sort of thing. So I'm going to fast forward this up to, and I thought we'd just watch a couple parts of this and see. He's going to go over a couple different silo structures here. So I'm going to turn this on, and people can't, you guys can't hear that, can you?
No,
You can?
no.
No. Okay.
No.
And Jim, when you do the share in Zoom, there's a little checkbox that says share sound as well, I found.
There's also another shortcut up at the top to the right where it says there's a little pull down, and you can select the item that says share computer audio. It's kind of a newer feature. It's at the top while you're sharing the three dots or more.
Hold on here.
And then there's a little pull down, and you'll see share computer audio. You just select it, a check appears.
Do I need, let's see here. Share some.
This kind of configuration, again, we have the
Perfect.
same architecture as
You can hear
before.
that.
We have all the keywords mapped
Yes.
out, but here's how we're
Yes.
going to
Okay,
do the intro.
hold on here.
We
Hold
have our
on.
top page,
I can't hear it.
best diet.
Which I don't need to hear it. I mean, that's okay.
We were able to hear it.
What's that?
We are able to hear that.
Okay, hold on. Let me get let me try some earbuds here or something. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it. And then let's see here.
Can you close your dialog boxes too? Because we see those as gray screens.
Okay. Let's see. So you mean down at the bottom?
But that one and the chat, both.
Okay. Can I just tuck them down here at the bottom?
Looks
It's
good.
fine.
Okay, I'm sure glad that some of you guys know how to do this. So okay, let's go ahead.
Now here's configuration number 1. I call this the top-down recycle SEO silo. In this kind of configuration, again, we have the same architecture as before. We have all the keywords mapped out, but here's how we're going to do the interlinking. We have our top page, best diets. That's going to link down to the keto diet page, the paleo diet, and the vegan diet page. Remember, these are contextual links found in the body of the article. And then so forth, just using the example for the keto diet, that would break down linking to the meal plan page, the supplement page, and then the app page. And then guess what? The meal plan page will link down to breakfast, men, and women. And then what happens is it links back up here from the bottom of the silo all the way up to the top page. Now let's take a look here and see what would happen if we got an external link to any one of these pages, starting with the best page. So let's move up here. So let's say we get an external link, meaning a link from another website to this best diets page. Now that link juice is going to flow down to all three of these top guys. It's going to flow down to this meal plan, supplement, and app, down here to the breakfast page for men, women. It's easy to see. You just follow the lines here, and then it's going to recycle back up to the top here. So as you can see here, there's pretty good flow of link juice. Anytime you get a link anywhere on the site, it's going to flow around to the various pages, and every single page on the entire website is going to get a piece of that link juice. That's great. What is the reason that we do this flow back up to the top here? Because what this is doing is called completing the loop
you
here.
open
If
something,
we, for example,
block
add
it.
a link that was going to here, that was going to here, then kind of dead-ended
I
here,
gotcha.
well, guess what? There would be no benefit after this point. Like if we got a link directly externally to this breakfast page and that didn't link out to anything else, well, that's a dead end for that link juice and it goes nowhere. How does it look in terms of topical relevance? So the more links that you have from similar content, the more topical relevance you would get from other pages on your website, then Google thinks you're more relevant to that topic. So for example, we look at the keto diet page, it only has one link from the best diets page. If we look at the meal plan page, it only has one link from this keto diet page. So the topical relevance in this configuration isn't great at all. Another reason I'm not a big fan of this configuration is typically if you're looking to getting someone closer to the sale, you want to link the other direction completely, right? So if someone comes into a long tail keyword like what's a meal plan for the keto diet for men, right? So he lands on this page. We want to be able to link him up to stuff that's more general and more commercial in intent. So we want to be able to link here and then give him to the keto diet page or maybe the app page or something like that where he can spend money, like this supplement page, for example. This one links in reverse and it gets people further away from commercial keywords. So it makes me not so much a fan of this one. Let's take a look at the next one. Configuration number 2 is called the reverse silo. This is one of the most popular silos. And let me just describe the linking in this configuration. First, we have the best diets page, and this does a two-way link to the keto diet page, the paleo diet page, and the vegan diet page. So not only does the best diets page link to the keto diet, but the keto diet links back to it. And then the pattern follows as such. So keto diet goes down to meal plan supplements app, meal plan breakfast for men, for women. So what happens here when we get an external link? Let's say just for fun, we got an external link to the supplements page. So the link juice is going to flow up to the keto diet page, which is going to flow to the best diets, meal plan, supplement, and app. So we have a full direction of where this link juice could go. It can go in the up direction, it can go the down direction. It also handles this consideration where we want to be able to link in the top direction more often because that's typically more commercial and where we can make more money. It also really has a lot better topical relevance. As you see, the keto diet page is getting a lot more links than before, whereas it only had a link from the best diets page before. It's now getting a link from the meal plan page, supplements page, and app page. So overall, I really like this configuration. Another reason I'm a fan of this configuration is because you can see here that certain pages are only linking to each other if they're very tight in relevance. Obviously, meal plans have a lot to do with breakfast meal plans for men and women, and the keto diet. So they're very close and very adjacent to what they link to. And that's good for beginner websites when you really, really want to be tight on what you link to in order to establish topical relevance. For a beginner website, you don't want to have keto diet meal plan linking to a paleo diet page. That's going to throw off Google and confuse them. So with this reverse silo, you're linking very closely. It kind of protects you from risk. Configuration number 3 is called the serial silo. And I'm not talking about Captain Crunch here. I'm talking about serial as in the opposite of parallel. And here's how it works here. So we have best diets. It's going to link down to the first subtopic beneath it. So it's going to link to the keto diet page. Keto diet will link over to paleo diet, will link to vegan diet, and then back up to the best diet page. And then we do that again down here.
There we go.
Sorry.
Okay. So let's see here. Where am I? So I'm seeing, hold on, let me do this. Can you guys still see my screen?
We can see your screen, but you've got something open that's blocking it.
Okay, that's you guys. So I'm trying to see you
We
guys.
see the video. And I sent you
Okay.
some tips for under your share screen advanced menu. You can use a pull down in there and adjust it so we don't see those dialog boxes. But that's for another.
Okay. Yeah, I will check that. That's what I wanted to check. I saw some chats come in, but I was afraid to click on them. So
Yeah, you
anyway,
kind of have to do those while you're in a Zoom meeting now. It's kind of weird. It has to be an open, someday. Others can use it too.
okay. So let's see here. So I just want to get out of what do I want here?
I don't
So
know, maybe-
anyway, with the let me close this and let me bring this back down. With the link juice, did you guys understand what he was talking about with that? So the link juice thing here is he's talking about like if you think of a link like kind of like water, and so if somebody links to your silo or something, that those links are gonna kind of trickle down, I guess, kind of like an irrigation, and then the whole thing about linking back up, that's like super important. Like you don't want it, like if you link to another post, you don't want the link to just end there. You always want it to link somewhere back around and loop back around. So anyway, that's kind of what he was talking about. I was going to show you one more, but I think it's a little bit complicated, so I'm just going to probably exit out of this. Let me get out of the full screen and let me get out of here. Okay. So anyway, so it kind of goes into some of the different types of silo structures and that sort of thing. Let's see here. Can we do the box here? Anyway, so is there any like questions or anything about where we are right now? Seeing nothing, hearing nothing.
I have a
Okay, yeah,
comment.
go ahead, Leilani.
Hey, I just feel like I'm hanging in here because some of this I can grasp the concept behind what you're saying, but I'm also feeling like overwhelmed by the technical stuff. I'm just
Okay.
really clueless. I'm seeing.
No, it's fine. And I think
But
I'm using
I am
some
getting
buzzwords.
the
Go ahead.
idea of the internal links, especially really driven home because I use external links, but not internal.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And
Keep
Tessa.
going.
Yes, my question is, and I don't know what you're covering after this. And so if you're going to cover this, then I'll take my question back. But in these different structures, are they all driven by the links on the page, or are they WordPress categories and topics? I mean, how do you organize it from WordPress point of view? Or do
Yes,
you?
that's a good question. And we are going to get into that. And
Okay.
it's getting a little bit complicated. I wish I could get this thing back up, but anyway, it's a little bit complicated. How is I want to make sure that as people can understand here. Let's see, the footnotes plugin has not been updated. Okay, so that's in part of the chat there. Okay,
That was just me sharing.
gotcha. Okay, and so anyway, is there any I want to make sure we don't lose people here, because it's going to get a little bit, when we get into pages versus posts, it's going to get a little dicey, I think. So is there any questions about kind of the structure or the linking or anything like that, or should we just move on?
Oh, I had a question real quick.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wondering, I think he was going to go into like a third,
Yes.
which one would be best? Or were those just like options?
So those were options. I'm going to throw his link in the chat here. Okay. So this is the YouTube video. And so you can watch the other ones. He gets into a couple of them that he doesn't really care for. And and that sort of thing. He goes into a couple that he doesn't like, and then he kind of goes into one that's a little bit more advanced. It's like that second one that he was just talking about. I was going to show that one, but I'd rather just move on, because the technical part of this is I kind of just like to move on from the technical issues. So, but so anyway, if you watch that video on your own time, you'll be able to kind of see the different structures of how he kind of goes over it. And he talks a little bit about, I forget what else, like the internal linking, and he talks about which ones he likes best. Was that helpful, or I'm not sure if I answered your question?
Yes, so helpful. Thank you for the link too.
Okay, good. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on here. So let's see here. So Cornerstone content, okay? So if we make something a hub, give me 1 second here. Okay.
So
if we
we're looking at different types of silo structures with a YouTube link underneath it.
Okay, so that's not good. So let me do the resume share. Then does that put
There we go. Yep.
okay? And it says Cornerstone content, right?
Yes, that's what we're seeing.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay, I had the wrong button pushed there. So I'm not sure why my audio is quite so loud here, but
Jim, it's fine for us.
okay. Okay, sounds good. So hold on, let me go back and get rid of this screen. Okay, so Cornerstone content right here. So moving on. So Cornerstone content, you want your content, your content hubs or your content silos, you want them clickable from the home page, okay? So that those pages are high in the structure. You think about them up on top of those silos there. And so those are important pieces that you want like on the home page. So they should click from the home page. They should have the most internal links pointing at them. So again, internal links are coming in from other pages. And what you're showing is that like, hey, this is a really important piece of content. Look at all these pages that are linking to it. Okay. And remember, if you got the hub in the middle and those little, the outline content around it, all those links are pointing to the hub, and the internal links are what show what the hub is there, And so the hub should have the most links pointing at it, and it'll also have links coming out. So I know, I've mentioned before, I use the Yoast plugin, and I'm sure other ones are like that too, but I'm just familiar with Yoast. And Yoast has a feature that when you come in, let's see here, hold on. When you come in, there's you can flag something as Cornerstone content. So let me show you here at one of my posts. I'm just going to go to this one here. And in here in Yoast, okay, so here's the Yoast checks, and it has Cornerstone content. Okay, I can flag this post right here and say, hey, this is Cornerstone content. And what that does is it triggers some of the different checks. So down at the bottom here, the Yoast has their checks. I don't know if you guys have seen these type of plugs in before or not, but so this is the SEO analysis. It tells me how well my post is doing in SEO. So here I have outbound links, whatever. So it'll tell me if my post is not long enough. Okay, so my whole point in talking about this is Yoast has in their minimum, their minimum requirement is 300 for a typical post. I want to turn that off here. They have so they're saying like 300 words is how is the minimum one of your posts should be, which 300 is nothing. I don't know who's doing 300 word posts. Mine are usually quite a bit more than that. But if you trigger that Cornerstone content, it ups the requirement to 900 words. Okay, so my point in talking about this is your Cornerstone content is going to be bigger. It's more in depth. It's going to be like a really like featured post. It's going to have a lot of research behind it, longer links, more external links, more links coming at it. And you're just showing that it's a very important piece of content. And and it should link out to other related longer tail keywords. Okay. And I know longer tail keywords is kind of a buzzword, but those are more specific posts. Those are your, best safety features for Volkswagens and those longer tail keyword, more specific inquiries that don't have a whole lot of people searching for them. So that's what it should be linking out to. Okay, there's a thing called the 3-click rule that I've heard about. I don't know if there's been any testing or anything like that, but the 3-click rule is you don't want anything more than 3 clicks from the homepage. Okay, so if you, like, for example, okay, let's say you're on the homepage and you have your website about fruit or about produce or whatever. Okay, you have a page about fruit, a page about apples, page about red apples. That means you're 3 clicks in. Okay, you go from the home page 1, 2, 3, and so this post would not, you would not want to structure it like this. Now, if you have so much content that you're 4 clicks in, there's different ways of doing it. For one, you could jump from here to here. So you maybe put an apples post on your homepage. And so then there's 1, 2, and 3. Or if you haven't structured it yet, maybe you just get rid of your red apples category and that sort of thing. But anyway, that's the 3-click rule. Is in general, you don't want anything more than 3 clicks deep. Okay. So when you're structuring these things, sometimes if you have a lot of content, you can get kind of carried away and go 5 and 6. And it's been my understanding that that is not advisable. Okay, and then next page, posts versus pages. So when you create a page, hold on here. So when you have some content, you can click new post or you can click new page, right? So if you come up to, let's see here, right here. So here's new post, add new. And then same thing with pages, all pages, add new. Okay. You can do it either way. So what's the difference? Which one is better? And this is getting into Tessa's question about how to structure this from a WordPress perspective. Okay. So you can there's an argument, and that guy that you saw in the YouTube video, he does his silos out of pages. Okay. And if you do one out of pages, that's what they call a hard silo. Okay, if you make your structure, if you will, out of pages, it's called a hard silo. Posts, if you make it out of posts like most people do, that's called a soft silo. Okay, the advantage of posts, and I got this a little bit mixed up. I'm going to start with soft silos first. So soft silos, with posts in WordPress, they use categories and tags. Okay, if you have a page, you cannot categorize that page. Like if you have a category menu, your page will not show up in that category. And I can show you again on my site here. So this is like a category menu, and these are all posts. There's no pages in here because they won't show up in there. Okay. So that's called the soft silo structure. Okay. So soft silos use posts, and they use categories and tags to sort of structure that content. Okay. So you would have a category about like maybe apples, and then this is your site in here. Okay. So the URL, which is this part right here, right here, food site. Okay. That's what your URL looks like. Okay. And you can change your categories later. So let me get into posts right here. So it's easy if you do your thing out of posts like most people do. It's easy to reorganize it later. So if you don't have like a super like great grasp on the structure of your site yet, if you're just starting out, I recommend doing the posts and not even worrying about pages. But so anyway, it's easy to reorganize. It's automatically added to your blog roll page. WordPress has that thing where you can run your blog, as your home page, your blog roll. So if you do a post, it would be automatically added to that. If you don't do if you do it in Pages, it would not be automatically added to that. One of the cons though is it can get a little bit messy with the different categories and that sort of thing. Now let's go back to hard silos, okay? Pages. There's an argument to be made that hard silos are a good way of doing it, okay? Hard silos uses the pages as categories. And so you would have a site like this, foodsite.com, okay? Fruit, apples, best red apples. Let me show you in dog food heaven here, okay? Dog food heaven is, this is how they've done their structure is through pages, okay? So they have this page here, best dog food. Okay, so this is a page, not a category, a page. And you can see it shows up in the URL like that right there, okay? Dog food. And I know this is getting in a little bit in the weeds, but I just want people to make sure they understand. So this is your menu, you know, in the category, in the page, because you're using it as a category. So you go best dog food by breed and best dog food for, I don't know, Basset Hound, okay? So there are 3 pages, food, breeds, Basset Hounds. Those are 3 pages and it's 3 clicks in. So they did the 3-click rule. And then here's their page about, you know, best dog food for Basset Hounds. Okay. So that's how they've chosen to do it. And you can see here with the menu, that's how the pages go. However, if you ever want to change this, you're going to be in big trouble because this is your URL for your Basset Hound page. And if you ever wanted to change this from breeds, or you can't really recategorize it later, not without doing redirects and losing traffic and everything else. So anyway, so that's posts versus pages. My recommendation is don't. So pages can be a cleaner site structure, you know, especially like you look at here, they got best dog food by breeds. Okay, they got all these things right here. Okay, I mean, there's like, I don't know, 25, 30 of them in there. If you were to do, you know, like that on a post page, you get into this, you know, where you have to go to page 2 and that sort of thing. So I think it can be better for SEO if you really know what you're doing. But the big disadvantage is you can't reorganize it later. If you try and change your categories, you're going to be in big trouble. And then they also don't show up on their blog post. And I think you need a plugin to nest your pages like they do. You know, like to nest these, you know, to have parent pages and child pages. I looked in the WordPress, the plugin store. Let's see here. And they had like some, you know, pages like I don't even see. Anyway, they had, maybe it's page nesting plugin. Anyway, I don't even really see what I saw before. But anyway, they had some plugins for it, and there's one called Dynalist that was supposed to be good. I don't know. So to get off this topic right here, if you're 100% sure about what your site structure is, if you're just starting out, I recommend just do posts and categories to make your silos, and you can have parent categories and child categories and that sort of thing. So does that make some sense there? Hold on. Is there a plugin that can tell you how many and which internal links are on each post? I believe there is. Yes. I don't know what it is. I know with Yoast will tell you on the page right here, it'll tell you like how many posts have internal links and external links. That's internal and external. Actually, that might even be just WordPress. That might not even be Yoast. But and I believe there are, if there's not plugins, there's tools that can do it. They can tell you, are you going to share the slide? Sure, I'll share them. And you can use a combination of pages and posts, but I believe that, oh, hold on, somebody got kicked out. So you can use a combination of pages and posts, but you have to, I think your posts all have to be in posts and your pages can be pages. So you can do like a silo in pages and a silo in posts. But I don't think you can intermix the two, is my guess. So is there any more questions? Where's my, I lost my little screen for that has the people on it. Anyway, so is there any more questions about, we're going in the chat?
I was just going to share a comment really quick.
Go ahead.
I don't think, like I said, I'm pretty new to WordPress, but I don't think you need a plugin to be able to nest pages, because the
Okay.
way I have my site structured, and I just double checked it, is if I go onto my home page and I click my portfolio link to a page, I have pages nested within that portfolio page. So I haven't even worked with posts yet. I'm still working just with pages, but I have sort of a 2-click level page nested in a page nested in my home page. So I have not used a plugin for that. So I think that is built into basic WordPress.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's good to know then. Good.
Yeah.
Because I've done, you know, all my the stuff that I'm doing now is it's done, you know, I'm just doing it through posts and categories. So pages are not something that I'm trying to do, but I wanted to, you know, make sure I covered it, I guess. So any more questions? Okay, I'm going to minimize this. We'll drag it down. Okay. So don't have duplicate content. So, you know, with your you know, your hubs, it's easy to, you know, maybe come up with a hub and then, you know, you're trying to think of other posts and they're kind of just cannibalizing off the hub. They may not deserve their own post. So you want to make sure that whatever post you do, it has its own keyword or key phrase, and that the content is structured around that. You don't want to be trying to you know, take one from the other, I guess, or to have two posts competing for the same content. You want it to be related, similar, but different, you know. I know that's easy to say, but all right, Willie, you gotta go. Okay. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that duplicate content. Okay, anchor text. This is where we get into the internal linking. So anchor text. So the anchor text, first of all, here's anchor text. Okay, let's go back to Bruce Clay here. Anchor text. So this is anchor text. Okay, see our SEO training page for dates, locations, and details. Okay, so this is where the link is right here. That SEO training, that is called the anchor text for this link. Okay, that anchors that link, and then you click that link in it, and you go to the next page. These are all kind of anchor text too, and done in a different way. Okay, so these are all for internal links. So anchor text. So the anchor text should match the keyword your post is targeting. So what does this mean? So if we have a hub, and our hub, you know, if you think about that, you know, that spoken wheel hub, okay, and this is the center of the hub right here, smart home devices. Let's say you have a blog about a tech blog and you're writing about smart home devices. This is one of your hubs. Your keyword in here is smart home devices. Okay. So if you're using like an SEO plugin, you would put your keyword in here, like right here. Here's focus key phrase. For me, it's called unmodified thin set here. That's the keyword. Okay. That should be up here in the slug, which it is. You can't see it because it's in the edit mode, but like up here, you know, Bruce Clay SEO silo. Okay, that's it. That's in the keyword there. So your anchor text goes up there. It goes in your heading. Okay, this unmodified thin set right here. It is here. Your keyword goes in your first paragraph, unmodified thin set. It goes in your H2s. Okay, unmodified mortar. That's a similar match, more unmodified mortar, and it goes in your H3s. Okay, unmodified. Anyway, you get the point, right? In some of those things. Okay, so when you link to this post, okay, that's your keyword for this post right here. When you link back to this, that's your anchor text. Okay, so you want that anchor text to be, so you might say, hey, look at our smart home devices, and you click smart home devices, and that's your anchor text, and it links back. Okay, so it looks like this right here. So if we are linking from this page right here to this page, that's the keyword for this page. We have posts on smart kitchen appliances. Okay, that's your link page. That's your anchor text. You click on that link, and it goes to this page. Okay, and that's the anchor text. Does that make sense to people? Let me click this back up here. So that's what they call exact match. Okay, so you got your keyword, you linked from here to here, and you highlight that exact match keyword, and it goes from one link to the next. Okay, so you want your anchor text for SEO purposes, you want it to be exact match as much as you can. However, this is one of those areas where people have abused this. And so now you can't do it like 100% all the time. Okay. So let's say if we go back to this, and this is our hub. This is our hub. And so let's say we got, here's two of our the spokes. And, we have another one maybe on thermostats and another one on, pet collars or something. I don't know. So you have all these anchor texts coming back into this post. If they all say like, hey, check out our post on smart home devices, and they highlight smart home devices, and that clicks over to this page, it's going to look a little bit suspicious to Google. Okay. So you want to mix it up a little bit. So like here, this was an exact match. You might say like for bathroom faucets, check out our post on smart fixtures for bathrooms. Okay. So like right here, smart fixtures for bathrooms, that's a similar match to this keyword. It's not exact match. And so you want some of those in there when you're linking to these things. And you actually want a few of these like click here's too. Okay. So, like if you have 10 links coming to this post, you might do 5 or 6 of them exact match. You do 3 or 4 of them similar match, and you do 1 or 2 click here's or, that type of stuff where it doesn't match. So what do we think? Hold on. What happened to my Willie? I can't even see. Okay. So here, let me go back. Oh, go ahead, Betty.
Sorry. So do you know how SEO is affected if we make those like click here links and anchor text instead of like actual text become like a button? Does that completely disregard that whole structure that you showed if it's a button instead of a text that's linked out?
No, it still applies. So if it's a button, like you probably want it to be exact. I don't know how many, like, it depends on how many buttons. Like if you're talking about if it's a button, I think I would make it exact match,
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, like if you're doing a shop or something like that, or yeah, I think I would make it. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, so here's where we are. Okay, this has been kind of a technical one. So let me go to the next page here. Okay, so here's what we've learned. Okay, there's been a lot of stuff in this one. So in summary, with our silos and with everything else, you got to figure out what your site is about, okay? And break it down into a few different cornerstones, a few different silos about what your content's going to be about. So you make whatever your silos are, you're going to make those the hub or the top of the silo, and then other, similar posts below those. You're going to use your internal linking to show how those silos are related and to show what the hubs are. The hubs are going to have the most links, and you're going to use exact match anchor text with your links, but you're not going to abuse exact match anchor text. So anyway, I think that is it. I'm going to download this chat because that looks like stuff I need to know. But I'm going to stop the, let's see, how do I stop the screen share?
At the top.
Oh, you're right. Hold on. I remember this. Oh yeah, stop share. Okay, now I can see everybody. It's kind of nerve-wracking talking at a screen, you know? So anyway, what do you guys think? This kind of technical? Is there a hand? No, okay, that was Kim. So
It was good stuff.
I'm hoping that you know, I just kind of wish I would have known some of this stuff before I got as far as I did, but nonetheless. Okay, so do we have any questions about this? Do we have any questions about anything? I mean, you know, let's just open it up if you guys want to ask questions about your blogs and talk about some different things or whatever.
I
Go ahead,
have a
Tess.
question. I don't see how to raise my hand on here. Sorry.
It's
So-
okay.
Okay, so 2 questions. First off, I thought it was awesome and it
Thank
was
you.
incredibly helpful. One question I was a little confused on was, wait a minute, I gotta find it in my notes. I'm sorry. Well, I will just ask this one, but I had another question which I will dig out. So one was the follow versus no follow. So I don't understand which of our internal or external links we do the follow and no follow. That's always been confusing to me.
You want follow on all of them.
Oh, you do now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the only ones you don't
Change that.
follow are like if you're sponsoring, you know, like if it's a sponsored post,
Oh,
or if you're
now
if
that
you're-
makes sense. Okay.
yeah, or if you're linking to somebody, it's selling something, you know, that sort of stuff. But everything else like is a do follow link, you know.
Okay.
I mean, you'd have to be really abusing it to get, you know, a penalty, I think. Go ahead, Tessa.
I don't know if you talked about this. I actually lost connection there for a few minutes and had to get back in.
Yeah, I saw.
But I'm not sure I understand the difference between the hub and the Cornerstone.
So the Cornerstone, I think, is just the hub. I think it's another word for a hub. Is kind of what I think. You're sort of like declaring that Cornerstone as like, this is important. And then you should have, you know, and then you should have stuff coming into it, you know, links coming into it. But that's my understanding. I think it's just another word for hub. At least that's my understanding of it.
Okay.
Viv. You're on mute, Viv.
And then I talk with my hands. Google has changed the whole thing with tags, that they're making tags much more important. So how do we use tags with what you were saying?
I don't know. See, so I've kind of messed up when I started with tags. So I thought more was better with tags, and it turns out like less is more with tags. So if so I've got a whole, for personally, I have a whole, you know, thing I got to clean up on my site. But tags is just another way of organizing. You know, I don't know. It's, you know, like if you have a tech blog or something like that, and you are doing you know, like it's say smart devices and whatever, you know, cell phones and that sort of thing. You might put those in hubs, in categories, I should say, you know, and then you might just tag it like, you know, like I've seen people tag brands, you know, so you might tag it as like Apple, or you might tag it as you know, Jensen, or I don't know, you know, and then because that way you can search on you know the particular brand. That's how I've seen it done. I don't know. I'm not really an expert when it comes to any of this stuff, actually, but so, but you know, tags are kind of okay. Yes, about, yeah, that's a good, yeah. I was kind of wishing David was here to answer that actually, because I have a hunch he would have something to say on that. But anyway, I was talking about the chat there. So go ahead. Did you raise your hand, Kim, or no?
Yeah. I actually took off all of the tags years ago because it was so confusing, because there was times when categories were king, there were times when tags were king, and years ago, all of us had a hot mess. So I transferred everything over to categories and then went through the process of deleting down everything to my main topics. And I try to keep my categories as broad as possible. So my example is I have a cancer page on my website, but of course there's many cancers. So in the tags, I will have hemangiosarcoma or canine lymphoma, rather than having a category for canine lymphoma, because to be honest, I'm not going to write tons and tons of content on canine lymphoma. For my website, it's mainly about dog nutrition and dog health. So I have so much content. It would only make sense for me to have canine lymphoma as a category, me personally, if my blog was primarily about cancer. So since it's not, that's when it falls into the tag area. And I just look at tags instead of looking at it as for people visiting my website. I look at it as a way for me to better organize my content, so that when my followers ask me a question, I can quickly get the information to them. So when I'm like, for instance, if I want to go and look for all of the blog posts on hemangiosarcoma, I can pull up a link that has all of that and send it to the person who asked me a question for that specific thing. And so that's how I've always looked at it. And if I go through all of my categories and tags probably once every couple of years. And if I'm not using something, if I haven't used a category or a tag in a long time, then I go and look at the related content to see if I still need it, if it needs to be rewritten, or if it can go in a different area, just so that I can make sure that I keep everything as concise as possible. And I've been doing this for a decade now. And if I didn't do it that way, I literally would have a mess of a website. I heard a few people mention about how they wanted to get started and have everything organized from the start. I'm going to tell you, all you're doing is keeping yourself from getting started. I mean, I understand what your goal is, I really do. But when you finally get started, you are going to have a mess in a few years. It's just the way it is. And the reason why is because we change. I mean, when I started writing about raw feeding, I went back and looked at all of those posts, and I was horrified at what I had written, because it was all completely incorrect, bad information. At the time, it was accurate, but it was all bad. So I've spent the entire pandemic going through and deleting content or rewriting and republishing content just to clean all of that up. And that's just part of the job of a blogger. And it's not a bad thing. It's actually kind of cool, because you end up getting so many more readers. It saves you from having to come up with new content to create, because you have a whole library of content to just rewrite and update. And it solidifies you as more of an authority in your community, because people see you going back and saying, I changed my mind here. You can even put that in a thing like, this was originally published in 2013. Since then, this is what I've learned. And that's what I've done. And it's really helped with my credibility in the community, because people see me as someone who's willing to admit that, I was wrong. I mean, maybe back then we were all right. We thought we were right at least, but people appreciate that, and they trust people who are willing to say, I wasn't sure, or I was wrong and I had to make that mistake. So don't stop yourself. Just start writing blog posts. If you want to, stick with one topic and just get going, and then slowly add things into it. But don't get in your head about all the back of the, because I promise a year from now, you'll be like, oh, I should have started. So go for it, guys.
I agree. Start. Viv.
Another question on that note then, when you reorganize, either of you, how do you do redirects, or how do we deal with that? Because I do have a hot mess that I have to clean up. And so I'm curious about how to not lose my ranking, but also get it straightened out.
There's a, what I've used is there's a redirection app that makes it pretty easy. And you just put in the post that, that you have, and then where you want it to go to, and you'll have to do that with categories, and you have to do it with, tags and just with posts. But there's a redirection app. The Yoast, like I'm not a shill for Yoast. I'm just very familiar with it. Yoast, I think the premium version, I think it is a premium feature, so I won't even mention it. So, but sometimes you might find in a plugin, there's, they do redirects as well. Go ahead, Kim.
All-in-one SEO, that's the one I use, and I love it. It has that automatically in. So when I go and delete a post, it comes up to say, where do you want to redirect this to? And I put in the link, and it takes care of everything for me. I've also done things like, because I use Pretty Link, I will create my own redirection if I need to just make something a little easier. But yeah, all-in-one does it for me. It's really easy and quick. I haven't had any issues with ranking since I've been doing that. And I think I've deleted like 300 blog posts.
Yeah, you want to make sure they always go somewhere else though. Like you don't want them just dead ending if at all possible. And one thing,
I just really quickly, I'm going to disagree with that a little bit.
Okay.
One thing I did, and this was, I don't know, I think it's not an all-in-one feature. It's a different plugin that I'm using that lets me do that. But before I just delete a blog post, I go and see if it's getting traffic. And if no one's coming to the blog post, I just delete it. I'm not going to redirect and keep tons of all of that redirection going on, especially because it can get cumbersome over time. So if I'm looking at it in over the past 30, 60 days, it has zeros across. You can check in. I have a plugin that helps me do it. I think it's Monster, but you can also just use Google Analytics. But if it hasn't gotten any traffic, I just delete it.
And in theory, you should be able to get rid of your redirects after a while, because it's, you've supposedly have trained Google. I've never tried that, but in theory. And one thing
that would be cool.
Yeah, one thing about the categories thing, not to get on another tangent, but like you put a sitemap into is it Search Console, I think, and usually you don't want to do your categories in your sitemap, categories and tags. So I keep those out. I just do posts and pages in the sitemap that I submit, because sometimes the categories can be duplicate content. I got a cat that will probably be quiet here in about 20 minutes.
What does your cat want? I have never heard such a vocal cat since I had a Siamese.
So he's not normally like this. I don't know what he wants. I think right now he wants to go out again, but I honestly don't. He's usually asleep, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but it started from the get-go this morning. So any other questions? Anybody? We got 20 minutes here. Does somebody got questions particular to their site that they're working on? Kim.
I have a question. One thing that I went through, and I've got another thing that I've done over the past couple of years, is redid all the pages of my site so that they were more informative and truly anchor, and then they would link out to other blog posts. And one thing I have things like, like for instance, I have a cancer protocol, and should I put like a link to the cancer protocol more down on the site rather than having people come? And now that I'm talking about it out loud, I think I know the answer, because I was going to put it at the top, but people will just come, click on it and leave. Whereas if I put it at the bottom, maybe they'll scroll and read and stay there and then click and leave. Never mind.
It's a good question. I kind of, because with that kind of a thing where you're going to cancer type of deals, that is like that's in that whole your money, your life thing, the medic thing which I remember you had some dealings with.
It's actually okay if you're speaking from your own experience, because you can say that. I mean, I can't say that this is what you should do for all
Right.
dogs with this cancer, but I can say this is what I'm doing for my dog with cancer. So Google is perfectly okay because they recognize that I am an expert in my dog because I'm going through this. Is when I start putting out information or selling things to help other people, that's when I get into a lot of trouble. So what I've done is also make sure that I'm like, this is my dog, this is my story, but also put links to studies to make the blog post or page more authoritative, because I'm not a doctor, so I have to link to doctors.
Yeah, I know in my field, I get into, like asbestos and lead paint every once in a while. And I just, I put the link in there. But yeah, I don't know. I think if you can put it at the bottom, you're probably better off. But, at the same time, you don't want to upset the mighty Google God, so. Anyway, any more questions? Are we putting our links in the? Yeah, go for it. We can visit each other's pages. Put the links in the chat, for our sites. So, is there anything, I'm trying to think if there's anything going on here event-wise. Oh, go ahead. I just saw a hand come up. Or okay, I'll wait then. Anyway, I don't know. We got about 15 minutes, so.
Oops. Then if no one else has one, can you just go over how you did that huge keyword search that you did?
Yeah.
Just real briefly.
I'll show, it gets into the whole thing. So, yeah, I'll show you the, let's see, I got to do the screen share. Let's see here. Let's go to. So here's let's see here. I got to get into my. So what I did is, this is the one. I don't know if it's still in here. So this is just what it ended up as. Let me move this out of here. So what I did is I put a bunch of keywords in. Oh, in fact, these are going to be the topics. So let me show you this other one here. Let's go back to my home. And right here's one that I'm going to be doing. And so this is, I've already stripped the post down. But what I did is I used a tool called Ahrefs. And so like right now, this has 3,500 keywords, somewhere in there. Yeah. For this particular topic. So what I did is I analyzed the competitors. You can do this in Ahrefs. And so what I did is I just took, I think I cut it off at 1,000 down here, 1,000 keywords. I took the top 1,000 keywords for every page that is going to be similar to this one that I did and threw them in the spreadsheet. And it automatically, I'm not a spreadsheet whiz. So you can just put it in here and it does the columns already and everything like that. And then I took all these spreadsheets and combined them into one. And so let me see here. How do I go back? Right here. So, and combined them into one. And I this is the master key list right here. And I combined them into one and I took out all the other stuff here. All this, I took out this whole column, all this extra stuff here, because it just gets in the way. And so I kept this one here. And then the keyword list by itself. So the keywords and the volumes. And I put it all into one master list and sorted it. And so here's the keywords. And then I'm going to go through this right here and see if there's, is this going to be just one post? Is it going to be multiple posts? In the other one, I'll show you here that I just had up. This is the one that I made the hub out of. This is the one I couldn't think of what to make. So this is going to be the home page. And then I'm going to have this one here. This will be an affiliate page that I can make a little money on. This one is another spoke. That's like an alternate glue. How to mix thin set. That's going to be one with the keywords. And I just went through and sorted them and put them in different ones. This FAQ one is part of the hub. And then this one was another one that came up, tiling over tile. This one I have published right now. So anyway, I don't know if that is helpful or not. That's kind of complicated, huh? But yeah, I just took them all in there, and you remove the duplicates and strip it down and sort it. And then I just started going through, and it turns out there was a few topics in there all on that same list. Go ahead, Tessa.
You said that you used a paid subscription for that, I believe. Can you
Yes.
tell us what software you used?
Yeah,
What package?
it's in the chat. So it's Ahrefs is what it's called, and it's about $100 a month, something like that. They have a free trial, I think, maybe, but you can do it for a month if you want.
Jim,
and-
did you send that link to everybody? I apologize. Did everybody get it?
Oh no, hold on. I have it on direct message, I think. Yeah. So hold on. Ahrefs. So it's called Ahrefs. There's also one called SEMrush that's good. SEMrush has I think they have a light version that you can use, but their competitor research isn't as good. Yeah. Okay. So that went out to everyone there. So yeah, but Ahrefs, you can analyze your competitors. We got 10 minutes. You want to take a look at it? I'll show it to you real quick if you want. Any other questions, or do you want? Go ahead, Kim.
Let me see. Oh, yay, I'm unmuted for once. I wanted to also say I'm using I was going to say Udemy. No, it's gosh, now I don't remember the name. What is it called? Uber Suggest.
Yes.
And that does a lot of things. And if budget is an issue, it's like $30 a month. And I have found it does so many things. And I've used various SEO software sites, and it's by far the most user-friendly. It's helped me. It does like the errors, and I've been able to go through and fix the errors on my site. It's been really good. I've also just paid someone on Fiverr to do it for me before I had the Uber Suggest. And that I found to be, if you get the right Fiverr person, I wish I could recommend it. I haven't done it in years, but I've done it a few times, and it was very helpful and just saved me so much time.
Yeah, that's a good idea to use Fiverr. I've thought about, like, if you have the tool, you could do some keyword research for people, and
Oh, yeah. I actually have used Fiverr for to have people write content for me. And I just have them do the research and write the basic blog post. And then I go through and rewrite it in my voice with stuff about my dogs. I spent $100, and I was able to get 10 articles written. And the person who did it for me did a fantastic job. I could have taken his articles and just published them.
Mm-hmm.
But I rewrote them, and he did a fantastic job. And there's quite a few people on there that are really good at what they do.
Okay.
And if you do a bulk order, that's when they're willing to discount the price for you.
Okay. And do you have a link to Uber Suggest? I know that's it's Neil Patel is the guy.
Yeah,
that does
sure, I'll get one.
Okay, so somebody asked for it in the chat as well. So Betty.
I have a question. It goes back to, it has nothing to do with this keywords right now, so sorry if we backtrack. That Cornerstone keyword, does that go on the homepage, or does that go on your possibly the first primary or first blog post of a soft silo? Is that better, or could it be the 5th blog post and then you just use that 5th blog post as your cornerstone, or is it embedded in the page and not the post?
the way you number it, are you asking like in terms of what order you publish your posts in?
No, just like where would you put that cornerstone keyword in? Would it be just like one of the posts that you choose? Like, let's say you already have 100 articles and now you're at our posts, blog posts, and you're at like 103, and you're like, okay, this is going to be, now that we're organized and we know better and it's not just a hobby, this is going to be my cornerstone content. Is that the post that you put that cornerstone keyword in that everything links back to? Or does that cornerstone keyword go into the actual like homepage of the website? Sorry, unless I'm like thinking about this just completely incorrect.
Listen, there's no, yeah, it's a good question. So your cornerstone, if you're gonna flag something as a cornerstone post, okay, so in other words, you have like 100 posts and then you make 3 more, so you have 103, right? And so you're gonna take I don't know, maybe 10 of those posts. It depends on what, but you're gonna take a few of those posts and call them cornerstones. These are like, this is what your site is about, right? It's these 10 posts, or these 15, or 15 would probably be a bit much, but so, and you're going to call those cornerstone posts. So whether that's one of your newer ones that you just made, or it's one that you already had, you're going to call that a cornerstone, and that's, you're going to want to link that right from your homepage. So whatever like in the example of, let's see here. In the example of, I'm going to share the screen again. Like in this dog food heaven, right? So here from their homepage, they have these ones right here. Okay, these are their cornerstones for this page. There's breeds, health, ingredients, brands, comparisons. Okay, so they're calling these 5 hubs, and then you click on those, and they have content around them. So if you, each one of these things, so this is kind of a bad example, to be honest with you, because when you click on their thing, they don't have very much content on here, and that's kind of a no-no. So they didn't really do that part of it right. But so you're gonna make those posts. Each post should have a key phrase. In your cornerstone post should have a cornerstone key phrase. So I don't know if I have a hunch I'm not explaining it very well. Maybe Kim's got a better way of explaining it. Or go ahead. Okay, maybe you got something.
I don't. So technically, because I think the way that page is laid out is really cool. It's like you said, it was disappointing to click on it because you're clicking on it expecting to get this content, and instead you just get a list,
right,
or stuff, and it's just like, okay. So ideally, what would you think that would happen? Would it be like you have the main thing, and then you have like, because what it was, breeds, health, ingredients, brands, comparison. Are we to click on those links like breeds and actually see a full fleshed out page explaining like I guess the importance of food based on different breeds? And then maybe that links to more detailed content for like the Basset Hound that you showed earlier.
Yeah, so it's a good question. So now that I'm thinking about it, they're using pages for their categories. And so maybe their categories, because they're category pages, maybe they don't have a lot of content on them. So if you're going to have a cornerstone post, okay, you're not going to do it as a page. You're going to make a post, and it's going to have, content to it. Another example, let me show you this one. So this is, let's go back to this Bruce Clay here. Okay, this guy is the king of the stuff. Okay, so he has these different things. So he's got need more SEO tips. So here's more on siloing. Okay, so here was his first post on silos. Here's his other one, and down at the bottom he has all these ones that are related to siloing. Okay, and these all link back to that other post, but I think this one right here is his his cornerstone post on siloing. And so anyway, that's how he's done it. So he has this post with with all the different the content. This is a really long post here. And so anyway, there's this post, and then you get down to the bottom, and he has a whole bunch of stuff linking to it, and I'm sure there's links all throughout that
Right.
page, you know.
Well, and it's like for me, if I were visiting that site, I would find that much more helpful because I'm coming for content, not to just click around. And
Right.
so I'm less apt to click off of that second website than the first one.
Right. And I guess the second, that other website is probably a bad example, because I think those pages are categories and they're not really supposed to have content in them, I guess, you know?
Yeah. Well, I still thought it was useful, so thank you.
Yeah,
And
Where,
ahead.
where I was wondering with that, with the dog example, is if you could have, I agree that there need to be more content on that, even if it's a category, you know, it needs to have an
I
introduction.
kind of think so too. Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, but then on the whole list below, I'm wondering if those could have been blog posts that they're linking to. They aren't, I understand that, but you know, when you look on Bruce Clay's, when you get to the bottom of that, you know, Cornerstone post on siloing, you see that it's like one of 24 pages, you know, so I can tell he's using blog post for that. And so I'm curious what he's doing on his homepage to, or you know, because you said that your silos, that your hubs should be on your homepage. So what does his homepage look like? How do we know that we're going to find all that silo information?
That's a good question. Let's see. Let's see, Bruce Clay, let's go to his homepage. So here's him. So he's got SEO is apparently one thing, I guess. It's hard to know even what he does. So keyword research. So those go to different things. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah. So there he has his blog post. Maybe he linked exactly which blog post he wants to have on there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. So there's one, now that you got to, I was just thinking about this in my slides. I had one more, and I'm going to have to get out of the screen. Let's see here. I had one more link in here that I was just going to share for reference purposes. And this was a pretty good post on linking. It was pretty in depth, and I used some of the information in here.
Okay.
And I'll put this in the chat. And I'm going to stop the screen share. Anyway, so that was pretty good. And the Yoast stuff is pretty easy to understand too, if you wanted to, another resource yet at looking at siloing. So anyway, well, it's noon. You're just in time probably for it to start raining if you're in the Seattle area. So anyway, but I appreciate everybody showing up. It's a little bit technical. I went over a few times, but it still ended up getting kind of down in the weeds there. So hopefully it was understandable and all that stuff and helpful. So thank you.
Yep, it was great.
Good. Okay, well, I'm going to hold on.